The Cat S22 is a really cool flip phone, especially because the thing runs Android. But unfortunately, the version of Android it's running is Android 11 Go with a security patch from 4 years ago. So in today's video, we're going to unlock the bootloader on this thing, install a GSI Lineage OS custom ROM on it, and see just how far we can push it today. I'm kind of at a crossroads when it comes to Lineage OS on this thing though, because I want Google Play services, but I want it to run well on the 2 gigs of RAM this thing has. I'm not exactly sure how Lineage OS with Google Play will work, so I guess we'll just flash it and take a look. Now on the phone, we head into ADB settings and enable debugging. Connect the phone. Alright, there's the prep work done. Now, from my experience with installing GSIs, especially on the Tank Mini, this phone's really fun to daily drive, by the way. We should reboot into the bootloader to unlock the OEM, but I'm actually going to look up some instructions so I don't screw this phone up. XDA Cat S22 Flip GSI Lineage OS. Oh, here we go, perfect, a 423 post long thread about the thing. Oh wow, yeah, the first thing I'm reading here says this is a very risky process and not to blame this guy if you brick your phone. You know, way to sell me on this, man. There's also another bit of text here that says Lineage OS 20 is recommended for this phone, which I actually found was the case with the 8849 Tank Mini I GSI'd. Higher Lineage OS versions like Android 14 and 15 will work, but when it comes to voice over LTE, which you need to make and take calls, at least in America, I don't know for the rest of the world, it just doesn't work on the higher versions. But using Lineage OS 20 on Android 13 isn't that big of a deal because you get like somewhat modern security patches, which is really all I'm looking for here. Now we get into the steps, and the first one is make sure you're running the latest stock ROM. It looks correct. It says we're on API 30, but you don't, wait a second, why does this version that I'm running on the Flip say it was built in 2025? This thing has gotten an update in like 3 years. Okay, that's a bit concerning, but the next step says reboot to bootloader. Okay, so I was on the right track. ADB reboot bootloader. And while on this menu, we enter in fast boot flashing unlock on the PC. You know, while I'm doing this, before I wipe the system files, I should probably see if there's like a backup online so I can restore to stock if I want to. Oh, perfect. In this thread made by JQL on XDA, there's actually links to download the original stock files. Alright, cool. Let's proceed and brick our phone. Unlock... I'm not reading this. Alright, let's just hit the bottom option. And yep, that did the trick. Alright, so our bootloader is unlocked and now we can flash the GSI. Now we gotta download the GSI file, and the XDA page explicitly told me to install Lineage OS 20. So naturally, I'm just not gonna listen to that and try something higher just to see if it'll work. Let's take a look at Lineage OS 21.0 from April of this year. When it comes to the name of the GSI, you've got a bunch of confusing codes here, but thankfully there's a chart down here to help us figure it out. The Android version that we're currently running on the phone is 32-bit, so I think we better go with A64. Next we'll go with B for system as root, we'll go with G apps, and then we'll use, I guess no super user because I can install Magisk myself later. Okay, let's download it, flash it, and hope that VoLTE works. And with the file downloaded, now we have to head into fastboot D, but you know, after unlocking the bootloader, it resets the phone, and I don't want to set it up again and do ADB all over again, so let's just boot into recovery. Oh, you know what? I'm mixing up my terminology. This is already the fast boot menu, so from here we gotta head into fastboot D by running one more command, which funny enough is fastboot, reboot, fastboot. And now with that taken care of, we need to delete the product partition, flash the GSI, permission denied. What? Oh, I forgot to type in fastboot flash. Dude, I just forget to read sometimes, it's insane. And now it's telling us we should be good to just reboot into the system and use the phone, but dude, I don't trust GSIs. They work kind of wonky, so you know what, I'm just gonna go into recovery right here and factory reset and delete cache like it's suggesting. Don't boot loop, don't boot loop, please don't boot loop. Okay, it's not boot looping, but it's not quite booting either. I've been waiting on this screen for like 5 minutes now. And after waiting 20 minutes on that screen, it just never booted, so I think we should just try out Lineage OS 20 like the instructions said. Alright, let's see if this works. And there we have it, Lineage OS on a flip phone. Wait, it's not gonna say Android Go the entire time, right? And out of the box, immediately on the Lineage OS setup, it looks like our D-pad is working, which really surprising for a GSI. If you have a SIM card, insert it now. Oh, you know what? Yeah, that's right. I was daily driving the Tank Mini. Here, let me transfer it. Dude, I'm so happy GSIs exist because usually the most weird and fun phones get the worst software support. Now with that taken care of, let's log into our Wi-Fi, sign in with our Google account, and I think that's it for setup. So let's take a look at what does and, you know, doesn't work. Okay, I think the first thing we should fix on this is the voice over LTE. To do that, we have to go into IMS features, install IMS APK from Qualcomm, and then reboot. Okay, so we're looking for, yeah, here you go, IMS features, and then install APK. And if this doesn't give us voice over LTE, we can tick more settings, but for now, I'm just gonna follow the instructions and reboot. And after the reboot, it says mobile data won't auto-connect, so I guess it's just time to start hitting random buttons. I'm using the Tello network, so to get mobile data working, I think we might have to add the APN ourselves. And this should fix it. Wait a second, that still didn't fix it? I think we gotta tick one more setting. Let's go into MISC features, scroll all the way down, allow binder thread on incoming calls. And that still didn't fix the issue, but you know what, I think I know what the original issue was. The IMS app actually didn't install it, I had to install it myself. I'm hoping once we hit LTE, this is the end of the troubleshooting. And thankfully with that, it's over. We have mobile data working, and voice over LTE calls working. Yeah, hello, is your refrigerator running? The next thing we need to do is fix this outer screen, because it just shows this the entire time. Thankfully, some guy on GitHub is way ahead of me on this idea and made an app to help. It's called Cat S22 Present, and it's made specifically to help with aftermarket ROMs. There is a 0.3.1 patch, but I'm just gonna go with the official release, 0.3. No second display found. I guess we should just give it permissions, right? Restricted set. Oh, come on, don't do this. I think to work around it, we've got to go into Settings and Apps, click on the 3 dots in the corner, and allow restricted settings. There we go. Activate second screen. Have you got root access? Oh, we need Magisk for this. Time for another guide, how to root Cat S22 Flip. This guy poured his heart out with all these instructions, but thankfully we don't have to read any of them because he just gave us the download link straight up. Dude, you're a massive time saver, thank you. Now we push the file we downloaded to the device with ADB. I mean, it's telling me to push it to the certain directory, but you know what, I'm just gonna push it to SD card, because why not? Now we're going to install the Magisk APK, now we're going to patch that boot file, and now we got to send that file back to the computer, but I'm not digging through a Linux file system, okay, I'll just use local send. Hey look, the Android file picker's working now. That didn't work in Android 11 Go. Alright, perfect. Now we go into fastbootd and flash that boot file, and hopefully that's it. Fastboot, flash boot. Alright, let's see. And now we have Magisk and root access fully working. I mean, somewhat. You know what, actually, let me reboot to enable Zygisk. After all this effort, if the app doesn't work, I'm gonna lose it. Let's see if it works. But, okay, the screen just immediately went black. Wait, really? Did that just immediately crash the phone? Okay, thanks. Yeah, the phone's just completely unresponsive now. Okay, reboot, I guess. I think that was actually intended behavior, because if we take a look at the outer screen here, we got like a low resolution preview. So if we head back into here and just like configure it properly, it should work right. Oh, the app itself just keeps crashing though, so you know what, why don't we try out that pre-release version instead? Yeah, no, that didn't work either, so I had to keep going back, and eventually I found version 2.1, which does work without giving me a crash. During my troubleshooting, I learned the flow for this app. When you first boot up the phone, you gotta open the app, hit activate second screen, you gotta wait for it to reboot, and then you open the app again, and hey, there you go, you got the second screen working. The version I'm using, 0.2.1, works pretty well. It keeps the screen off when the phone's open, and when it's closed, you get a nice little preview of the time. And even if you forget to enable it, which, let's be honest, I'm probably gonna do, it keeps the screen off and not saying Android Go anymore, so I just like that regardless. Alright, and a bit of time after you've seen that last clip, I kind of wanted to just keep this off camera because I thought it would be like a one and done fix, but apparently when you do like Magisk and root your phone, it completely bricks the Wi-Fi on the phone, so I'm reverting back to the stock ROM right now, and then I don't know, I'm gonna go from there and try to like not screw up the Wi-Fi this time. Of course, some guy in XDA had the same exact problem as me. And another guy inside the same exact XDA thread said he had better luck with the v29 boot.img. I'm flashing the phone back to the v29 firmware to begin with, so we're going to use that boot file with Magisk and just hope it works this time. After flashing back to stock, it looks like it's actually finding the Wi-Fi networks now, which, you know, I was starting to get a bit concerned because I reset Lineage OS back to like factory defaults and none of these were popping up. Okay, well, back to square one. Let's take the battery out and reflash the ROM. 30 minutes later, I had the original ROM flashed working fine, so I installed this custom ROM on top of it, and now it kind of looks like it's working better, you know? It's like a grid of 3 now. Okay, this time instead of patching the v30 boot file, we're patching the v29 boot file, and we're gonna see if that works. We flashed the boot file, and we seem to still have Wi-Fi, but I don't know what's going on with the app icons here. It's like eating the text. Now that we're back on track, the next thing I wanted to do before I was, you know, rudely interrupted is actually do like a Geekbench test on this and compare it to the stock firmware. You know, while we're on the topic of fixing stuff, why don't we just give ourselves more screen space? Oh wow, yeah, that's so much better. On the stock ROM, we had a score of 89 over 298, and on Android 13 Lineage OS, we've got 88 over 260. It's not too big of a performance hit. I'm actually surprised the numbers weren't lower because we went from Android 11 Go all the way up to, you know, like full fat Android 13 on this thing. Originally, after that, I ended the video and just started daily driving this phone, but the performance with like the Google Play services, it's not that good. I'm also sorely missing features like Android Auto, but luckily on XDA, some guy wrote up a huge report about how to fix all of these issues. So let's wipe the phone for like the 8th time and install a version of Lineage OS without any Google Play services on it this time. Let's go with BVN this time. Alright, a bit of time later, we reflash the ROM and we don't have any Google Play services left anymore, so what's first? We've got Magisk module that disables log D service to get a performance boost. Oh, by the way, one quick thing before we reboot with the patch, I'm going to be keeping track of the Geekbench scores in between these. We just got an 89 over 291 without any Google Play services, so it seems like our multi-core is going up. Let's see if that Magisk module helps anymore. And with the patch installed, we do hit a new record for single core, but our multi-core lowers a bit more, so I'm just going to classify it under margin of error. Now it's time for the fun part. I still want Google services to work, but we can use like a lighter implementation of them with microG here. The guide also recommends us to install fake G apps along with the LS Post framework, so I'm just going to get that going. We now have the module installed and enabled, and on the GitHub page for the module, it says that it works with microG, so let's get that set up. To do that, apparently we have to install these two as system apps, and then use another installer? How does that make sense? Alright, we'll quickly install those, and then we throw the microG installer module into Magisk. Fingers crossed this lets us use the Play Store and Android Auto. I'm not seeing anything related to the Play Store on this yet, but I do see like an Android Auto module we can install. It's asking if we want to install a fake Google Maps stub, but the guide itself says it's not going to work, so I'll just wait. It seems like it installed this Android Auto app on our phone. What does it do? Oh, no way, dude. That's really cool. It gives us access to like a bunch of debug settings. Before we finish this up and log in with microG and test out Android Auto, we gotta update this with F-Droid Basic and add the repo. I'm just doing this to update microG, but honestly, it's not really a bad idea to like start moving all my apps over to ones from F-Droid. Now we scan the QR code to add the repo, and now we can update the apps. We're almost done. Now we can open the microG app and log in. Just logged in with my Google account and gave the app every permission. So let's see if Android Auto works. We got it plugged into the car and nothing. Oh, you know what? This is probably why. We've got to install Aurora Store to update Android Auto, but I really don't want Aurora Store. We might be able to install Play Store APK. Install failed. Update incompatible. What? Oh, you know what? One of the microG services already has that package name, right? You know what? Fine. I'll stop being stubborn here. I'll just install Aurora Store. Oh yeah, that's right. There's an option to log in with your Google account. I guess that makes it less bad. No updates available. Okay, I guess I'll just install Android Auto myself then. Wait, no apps available? Okay, yeah, there's got to be a connection issue. And even after reloading the app, the updates page just doesn't want to work. So you got to go into settings, hit My Apps and Games, find your app there, and then update it. Weird. Could not get files. What? I've tried a bunch of fixes to get this to work, and I just can't figure it out. So the next thing I think that'll work is if we like uninstall it and then reinstall it by using this. Uninstalling Android Auto unsuccessful. Oh, okay. I've been trying to troubleshoot this for nearly an hour now, and I'm just getting nowhere, so you know what? We're gonna manually install the APK ourselves. Watch it fail. Wait, did it actually update? I'm checking the app info, and yes, we are on the latest release, so let's try to plug it into our car again. And it seems to still not be working, but I think I know what the problem is. So I was messing around inside the Android Auto X launcher, and I did the troubleshooter right here, right? And I got this useful tip to turn off USB debugging, which apparently is enabled by default. So I disable it, reboot, and hey, guess what? It turns itself back on automatically. Alright, so if you're gonna force me to use ADB, let's disable it from ADB. Elevate to super user. I appreciate that it actually asks you. I'm gonna level with you. I have no idea what I'm doing, so I just got Gemini to write this, so let's see if it works. Then we make it executable for Magisk. Seems like that actually worked, because I restarted the device, not seeing any debug here. Now I'm begging you, please will Android Auto work? Ooh, this is good progress. Okay, we're getting an error screen. So I give the app all the permissions it needs, I force stop it, try again, and okay, it launches a notification and then just immediately quits. Alright, so I took a bunch of time to troubleshoot this issue, generating log files, feeding it to Gemini, and this is what I got, limit Android Auto resolution, which, I mean, if you take a look at the hardware we're working with here, that might actually be a good idea. Alright, so we go into Android Auto, we go to dev settings, now let's change the video resolution to 720p. Alright, and still nothing. Great. I'm beginning to think the entire Android Auto situation is because we installed the app from App Manager and not the Play Store, so let's set it to that and see what happens. Hey, it's now the next day at 8 a.m. This is definitely a healthy hobby, but it just wasn't working, the update, and I like went crazy, dude. I was like spiraling with like a bunch of script fixes, but I figured I probably did something wrong along the way, so I like removed everything, reflashed the system, redid all the steps, made sure I read everything to a T, followed it in the exact order, and hey, now Android Auto actually wants to update. It probably had something to do with the spoof manager here, but I tried this option before and got no results, so I don't know what's up. Maybe it's like the time of day, but hey, it's finally working. Oh, and yeah, by the way, if you want to do this yourself, make sure you don't read over the root installer method because Android Auto needs a bunch of permissions. So I set it to that, installed Android Auto, and, you know, let's see if it works. And we have absolutely nothing for the 8th time in a row. You know what? I'm not mad. I've been trying to troubleshoot Android Auto for 2 whole days. I have gotten nowhere. So you know what? I'm gonna spare my sanity and we're just gonna use Google Maps instead. And while doing that, I had the time to move all my stuff into my phone, set up logins and stuff, and I actually really do like the performance on this compared to, you know, the G apps one. Before we leave off, the guide mentioned something about like a kernel tweak app, so I wanted to check that out. You know, the same guy that made me troubleshoot something for 2 days. Smart Pack Kernel Manager. I wonder if we can use this to like squeeze out some more performance. I don't know about you, but this screen kind of scares me every single time it pops up. Alright, and here's the app, and wait a second, 1,000 milliamp hours? I thought it said 2,000 when I opened the phone. They do have other batteries on Amazon that report 2,500 milliamp hours, but I've already sunk enough money into this phone. Alright, so we open Smart Pack, go to IO Scheduler, change scheduler to Noop. What? Oh, I see, it's right here, okay, and yeah, we'll just pick Noop, I guess. Alright, next we check Apply on Boot and head over to Virtual Manager, or wait, Virtual Memory, my bad. This one is tricky to get done correctly, but I set Apply on Boot, then change the algorithm to LZ4. It tends to freeze, but eventually you'll get it. Okay, so cue the 10-hour process. Oh, that's pretty cool. In this menu, apparently we get a page file. I don't know if Android does that by default, but if it doesn't, this will be a huge performance boost. Alright, LZ4, and yep, phone's frozen. Maybe I misspoke there, because the phone itself isn't frozen, but the app is, so I guess we'll just close it and try it again. Oh, okay, it looks like it did apply. Alright, I guess we'll just reboot the phone and run a benchmark. After doing all of those tweaks and customizing the phone just right, we got 91/303, and that actually beats the stock performance. This completely destroys the unmodified Google Play Services build, by the way, especially in multi-core, 260 versus 303. So, thanks for watching me tinker, install custom ROM, and just have fun with this weird phone. Now, all of that work wasn't just for the showcase. I'm actually going to try to daily drive this thing, just because the form factor, I mean, look at it, it's an Android flip phone, it's so fun. Alright, I'll see you later.